I do not need a government to protect what I was born with by right. Your actions govern your reality. What you put forth, what you put out there, the actions you take, that's creating the reality you live in, whether you like it or not. Oh, everything happens to me, and no. I wanted to talk to you today about the concept of right and wrong. The first thing that I'm sure you're saying to yourself right now is, who is this guy? Who is he to tell me right from wrong? What qualifies this man to say what is right and what is wrong? The short answer is nothing, except for the fact that I have knowledge and I know right from wrong. It's been my experience in life that most people do not understand, truly understand the concept of right and wrong. You've been taught that right and wrong are abstract concepts. You've been taught that you can arbitrate, that what's right for you may not be right for someone else. What's right for someone else may not be right for you. This is false. You make things happen to you. If you feel your life is in a bad place, I'm sorry, you put yourself there. There is right and wrong in this reality. You do not get to arbitrate what right is and what wrong is. You need to know the difference. A president, a chancellor, a prime minister does not arbitrate and dictate what is right and what is wrong. You need to understand, not only know, you have to know and understand the difference between right and wrong. There's right behavior, there's wrong behavior. I am not a religious person. I'm not someone who is going to preach to you. These are unnecessary things. There's an old saying, what's right is right. And that's true. The difference between, okay, let's do it this way. Let me ask you this. What is right? What is a right? And you're going to stutter in your mind thinking, well, what is right? Your free will combined with your actions, that's what creates your reality. Now, don't get me wrong. We're sharing a reality here on a planet called Earth with 7, as of this filming, there are, what, 7.1, 7.2 billion other people that are helping to create the reality that we're living in. So we're all co-creating this together, which is part of why I'm putting this out there, because my reality can only get so good. And you know what? My reality is pretty good. I'm enjoying myself. You know, I'm having fun. That's okay. You don't have a concept of what right is. And I understand that. I've been there. Enlightenment is not bliss. Okay? Let's go there. Am I an enlightened being? Maybe. You know, sometimes my ego, what's left of it, my ego likes to think that I'm an enlightened being. I would like to be. But ultimately, what it comes down to, enlightenment is destructive. Enlightenment is painful. Enlightenment takes work. If you want to be an illumined being, if you want understanding, see, I don't like belief. I don't believe in belief. If you have to believe something, chances are you're being lied to. If you have to have faith in something external from yourself, you're being lied to. I don't know any other way to put it. Faith and belief. I don't care if you're lying to yourself. I don't care if somebody's lying to you. But if what you think is good and true requires belief, then you're being lied to. I'm sorry to say. You should know. You should understand right from wrong. You should know what right action is. You should know what wrong action is. If you have to have faith that something is right or wrong, or if you have to have belief that you're doing something right, you're probably wrong. Or you're probably acting on bad information. What's right will always be right. It's external from you. You do not arbitrate it. To arbitrate right and wrong, to make law, is to play God. Well, the state makes the laws. Yeah. You know what? The state thinks it's God. The state wants to be God. The state is not God. Well, my religion tells me what's right and wrong. We have commandments. We have religion. Does not arbitrate right from wrong. They're a little worse than the state. The religionists arbitrate right and wrong and do it in God's name. Not only do they want to be God, they want to take over and put the God mask on and pretend that they are gods on earth, controlling what humanity thinks and feels. Religion's a lie. The state is a lie. So that was education. Well, the education system, when I was being educated, when I was in school, I was taught right from wrong. The educational system wants to be God, wants you to believe that they can arbitrate right and wrong, and they want you to have faith in what they say is right and wrong. Education is largely now controlled by the state. The state doesn't arbitrate. Religion doesn't arbitrate. Education doesn't arbitrate. So that leaves one thing in society, one thing left to arbitrate right from wrong. That's the almighty dollar now, isn't it? That's finance. We'll look there. Finance can arbitrate right from wrong. You know, money can arbitrate. Whoever has more money is right, and whoever doesn't have money is wrong. Think about it. Tell me that doesn't go on in society. Tell me that doesn't go, you have faith that money is real. You believe that money has intrinsic value when it isn't even worth the paper it's printed on. Money is useless. Currency is called fiat, which is a Latin term. Fiat, let it be. That's what it was an expression in Latin, like, oh, fiat, like, oh, let it be. Let it be that way. That's what fiat in Latin means. It means let it be. So you have fiat currency. If you don't know that term, F-I-A-T, fiat, look it up. That's what the Federal Reserve System gives us in the United States anyway. The Federal Reserve System just makes money whenever it feels that more money is required. It's literally how it works. And you, the people, have faith that money has value, that money can represent hours that you spend in a job that chances are you don't want to do. So that's the last bastion, man. That is the catch-all. When education fails, when religion fails, when politics and government and the state fail, there's always money. You can't escape from it. There's money in debt. And that is the last. Money is almost like a religion of its own. It's almost like a priesthood of its own. What is truly right in this reality, in this universe? What is truly right? We're governed by laws. We're governed by principles. I'm assuming that the people, the person, anyone within the sound of my voice who's listening to this, watching this, is a sentient and conscious living being. Being that you're sentient and conscious, you're governed by principles. You're governed by laws. These are immutable. You cannot get around them. You can't say, I'm going to obey this principle one day and not obey this principle the next. It doesn't work that way. You cannot avoid these things. So when I ask you what is right, your answer is probably going to be something like, well, that differs from person to person. I know what I feel is right. I have a code of ethics as a human being that I live by. And that's fine. You're probably, you know what? You might be close. You know, if you're a moral person, if you're a just person, you probably are close. Okay. Being that you're sentient, being that you're conscious, and being that you have a level of awareness. And when I say a level of awareness, I'm saying a level of awareness, say, above an animal, above your cat, above your dog. Right and wrong principles do not hold to the animal kingdom, for instance. If a cat is cruel to a mouse, and cats can be very, very cruel to mice, the cat isn't held to the same level of behavior. It's not expected of the cat to be moral. It's not expected that the cat be just. That the cat's expected to be a cat. That's all it can be. You have potential. You're a human being. If you're conscious and sentient enough to hear this and understand my words, then you have a level of sentience and you have a level of consciousness. Well, define consciousness. For the sake of argument and for the sake of what we're going to talk about here, or what we're talking about here, when I say conscious, you have the ability to recognize complex patterns in reality. You boil consciousness down to its essence, that's what it is. You can recognize patterns. If by recognizing patterns, you understand that if to give you a simple pattern, if you eat a lot of sugary foods, you have a high carb, high sugar diet, let's say. Well, there's a pattern. If you consume those foods every day, if you have a high carb, high sugar diet, by consuming those foods on a daily basis, you're going to gain weight. When you begin to gain weight, then this becomes a pattern. The weight gain will cause heart problems. It will cause diabetes. Your body has a lot more to contend with when you're dragging more weight around. So that there's a cause. You know, maybe you can even get at an underlying cause. You're eating out of a sense of depression, let's say, and you're eating a lot of foods that are, you know, junk foods, bad foods that are bad for you, because, you know, we call it in society comfort food. You know, the high carbs release whatever in the brain, and you know, you feel comforted in food, and that's going to be a pattern. You're going to keep going back for that comfort. You're going to eat more, and as you eat more and you eat more things that are bad for you, you're going to gain weight. You gain weight, then there are going to be consequences. And you can maybe down the road a little bit recognize the pattern that you began. I began with, say, a breakup. I broke up with my significant other. I was depressed about it. I started eating ice cream to comfort myself. And then eating ice cream became a pattern, it became a habit. And that habit led to obesity. And the obesity led to health problems. If you're a conscious being, you can recognize this. And you can take steps to reverse it. You could say, okay, well, I've gained weight and now I'm in poor health. So I'm going to reverse the process and I'm going to start eating better. And I'm going to eat things that are good for me and stop with the ice cream and the junk food. And that'll initiate a new pattern. And that new pattern will lead to weight loss and better health. So you're conscious and you can recognize these patterns. Now that leads to a question of awareness. How aware are you? You know, maybe you don't understand that the ice cream is bad for you, and when you eat it, the ice cream is actually causing a weight gain. Maybe you don't understand that. Maybe you think that ice cream is good and that it's made from milk, and you know, milk is just frozen milk and it's not going to hurt you at all and it's not going to cause harm or whatever. Well then, you know, you're unaware. Your level of awareness isn't what it should be. And then maybe somebody tells you, okay, you say to somebody, I keep gaining weight and I don't understand why, and somebody looks at the patterns and says, well, you're eating ice cream for lunch and dinner. That's a bad thing. That's going to lead to weight gain. And then a light goes, ooh, that is bad for me. And you look on the side of the package and you see like, oh, there's high carb content and high calorie content, and I'm sitting here and I'm eating, half a gallon of ice cream at a time, and yeah, maybe this oh, it's like all these calories and sugar, and I'm getting all this in like one sitting, and no wonder I'm gaining weight. So then you become cognizant, you understand, and then you understand what led you to this, and then you take steps. Well, instead of, I'm going to take, say, broccoli and cauliflower, and I'm going to replace ice cream with broccoli and cauliflower, and then you do that, and then a new pattern emerges. You start losing weight, and you start becoming healthier. That's what I'm talking about. You have to be able to recognize patterns. That's conscious. Consciousness is being able to recognize those patterns. And then the level of awareness within consciousness is how quickly you can perceive patterns and take steps to either reinforce good patterns and put a stop to bad ones. So, okay, getting back to behavior, now that we have it straightened out, you're a conscious being. I hope you have a level of awareness. So what's right? What's right? And I'm not talking about what's right in man's law. I'm not talking about what's right in society. What's right, for a certain group of people. I'm talking about what's right. What's right, what's good, what's true. What is right, what is good, what is true? Well, as I said, you're a sentient human being. You're a conscious human being. You have the ability to recognize patterns. There is a level, in the universe, there is a level of expectation put upon you by creation itself. Call it God, call it whatever you want. We'll get into that, at another time. What is God? What is, nature? What is all of that? But for right now, the topic of discussion is right from wrong. What is right? What is wrong? What's expected of you as a human being? You know, if you want good patterns to emerge in your reality, in the way you co-create reality with other people, the people around you, the people in the world, the people in the universe, people in the galaxy, however big or small you want to make it. You could make it, you know, within your immediate, say, 15 square blocks of how and where you live. You can make it your country. You can make it your city, or however big or small you want to make it. So, what's right? What's expected of you as a person? What are the expectations? It's very simple. Truth always is. You know, truth is not complicated. Truth isn't, you know, overly complex. What's expected of you as a person is that you do no harm. You do no harm to other beings. Doing harm to another being, and I'm cognizant, sentient or not, harming animals is not a good thing. It's wrong. Harming other people is not a good thing. These are wrong actions. You do not harm. That is not to say you don't defend yourself. If you're in the woods and you're attacked, unprovocated, an animal looks to do violence upon you, a bear wants to maul you, for instance, then you are within your rights to defend your life from the bear, from the attack of the bear. Same with another human being. If another human being inflicts violence, now let's make a distinction. Violence is unprovocated force used against another being. If I attacked you without provocation, if I just decided for whatever reason I didn't like the look you gave me, and I decided to physically close my hand and strike you, that's wrong. That is a wrong action. That's violence, and violence is wrong. Force, on the other hand, up to and including the use of deadly force to defend your life, is absolutely right. I'm a large man. I stand 6 feet 7 inches tall. I live in the United States, so, you know, standard measure, 6 feet 7 inches. For everybody else in the world, I am 202.2 centimeters tall. I'm very strong, and I know how to take care of myself. So, because that's my responsibility, this is my body, and it is within my rights and my responsibility to this body to take care of it and to keep it out of harm's way. And that includes defending myself against the potential attack from another human being or whatever. Defensive force, up to and including deadly force, is totally within your rights. You have to defend your person from harm. And if that requires putting down another sentient being who is being violent and unreasonable, that's fine. If you need to do that, then by all means do it. But getting back, you do not inflict violence on other beings. This includes the animal kingdom. This includes any living being. You don't inflict violence. But it is within your rights to defend yourself, your body, your person, your home. So what? That's a right. As long as you are not inflicting. Rights are too numerous to list. I couldn't sit here and just give you a list of everything in the universe that you have a right to do. There's too much. It's wide open territory. Just because somebody else doesn't like or doesn't approve of your actions, if you're not harming another being, then you're right to take those actions. You're right under the law. You're right as far as principles in the universe that govern the universe. You're fine. As long as you're not harming anyone or anything, any other being, you're good. Take those actions. Revel in them, enjoy them, experience them. But if you're doing harm to another living being, and I'll list those actions which can do harm to another living being. What's wrong in the universe? How do you commit a wrong? This is not as complex. And, the answer to what is right is very simple. Do no harm. Don't harm anyone or anything. That simple enough. Anything that does not cause harm to another living being is a right. So what's a wrong? How do we define wrong? Wrongs you can commit in this reality. Wrong number 1, murder. To lie in wait and murder another being for no reason, when not defending yourself or the life of another human being, the life of another sentient being, sorry. If you are not defending yourself or another from violence, and you go and you lie in wait, and for whatever motivation, jealousy, greed, whatever, and you commit murder. Murder is wrong. Murder is the theft of life that does not belong to you. Number 2, rape. Raping another being. Forcing another being to have sexual contact with you against their free will. This is wrong. This is stealing their choice. Stealing away their choice to choose who they can sexually associate with. It is wrong to rape. Theft. Stealing another person's property. Whether it's money that they worked for, or whatever they got through legal means. If the property is rightfully theirs and you take it by stealing it, this is wrong. Coercion. The threat of bodily harm, physical violence, to usurp another being's free will. You threaten violence against another human being or another sentient being to have your own way in a situation. Coercion is wrong. Number 5, trespass. Every sentient being has a right to their own space, their own place to call their home. When you violate that space and when you violate that home, if somebody came through my front door unannounced and broke their way in and decided that they just wanted to come into my living room for whatever reason, this would be wrong. This would be a theft of my personal space. And we as beings have a right to our own personal space. Assault is wrong. Just as coercion is wrong, assault is the next step above and beyond coercion. To physically assault is to steal, is to take away another being's health. To commit violence, in other words, against another living being. That is not in an act of self-defense. By definition, violence is not defensive anyway. Violence is instigated. You cannot assault another living being without consequence. The final wrong that you can commit of the 7 wrongs, the final wrong is lying. It is not permissible to lie to another sentient being. Lying is also a form of theft. Lying is the theft of truth. You're taking away another sentient being's ability to make an informed judgment or decision. Based on truth, based on facts. You're not, and withholding truth. If you withhold the truth from another living being, that is the same as lying. Because you're keeping truth. You do not keep truth from another being. All wrongs, any wrong you can commit in this reality is a form of theft. Whether it's murder and you're stealing life, whether it's coercion and you're stealing free choice, whether it's lying and you're withholding or stealing truth, all wrongs are theft. So to simplify right from wrong, do no harm and you're always in the right. Do not steal. Do not take what isn't yours to take, and you are in the right. Harm can be defined as theft, and right action can be defined as not doing any harm to another human being, to another living being. So harm nothing and don't take what isn't yours. There is the simplified truth of the universe. If you adhere to these simple principles, that's all you have to ask yourself when taking action. When you take an action in this reality, am I harming anyone? Not the thing where you try to justify, well, this is a big company, they're not going to miss X amount of dollars. And no, I'm not talking about justifying wrong action. I'm talking about, is this going to harm someone or something? Is this going to harm another living being? If it is, if the answer is yes, then you are in the wrong. Am I taking something that isn't mine without permission? Am I stealing? Am I taking someone's life when it's not justified? Am I taking somebody's free choice when it's not justified? If the answer to those questions are yes, am I withholding truth from another living being? Am I withholding truth? If the answer is yes, then you're in the wrong. Now, the universe is governed by consequences because invariably, because as sentient beings, one of the gifts we have as a sentient being, the absolute main gift, the biggest gift we have as a sentient living being in this reality is free will. We have the free will to disobey the law, to disobey principles, or at least to try to. We have the free will to do that. All free will beings are governed by consequence. If you take a wrong action, there will be consequences. There always are. There will be consequences to wrong action. There's also consequences to right action. If you are putting out right into the world, then you will receive right in return. If you are doing wrong in the world, then those consequences will catch up to you, and wrong will be committed against you. Wrong will be committed against you to balance everything out, because that's what the universe does. It's balance. Balance is what governs everything. You want to call it karma, you want to call it the law of consequence, you want to call it the Hermeticists call it cause and effect, however you want to term it. If you were to go to the top of a tall building and jump, gravity is an operation. Nothing escapes gravity. You cannot jump from the top of a tall building with the expectation of flying. Maybe you have a hang glider on your back. Let's not mess around there. Let's talk about reality. You jump from a tall building. The force of gravity will pull you towards the center of the earth. That's a law. You cannot escape it. If you are not cognizant of the law does not care. If you are unaware that gravity is an operation, and if somebody told you and lied to you and said if you were to jump from this building, you would have the ability to fly, and you were stupid enough to believe it, it doesn't matter. Gravity is not going to say, well, this being was not cognizant and they believed that they could fly, so we're going to suspend the law in this case. No, gravity doesn't care. You will fall towards the center of the earth, and you will be stopped more than likely by pavement or a car on the street or whatever. And you will be stopped abruptly and painfully, and there will be a mess, because gravity is in operation. Gravity is not suspended. Gravity always will pull things to the center of the earth on this planet. Cause and effect work exactly the same way. If you jump from the building, well, the results will be apparent and the results will be immediate. Cause and effect, on the other hand, takes a little bit. Things have to line up. And this is where pattern recognition and awareness come in. If you're not fully cognizant and you're not aware of how your actions impact the reality, and how the reality takes your actions and helps to create, your actions create the reality that you live in.